Everyone needs a simple and clear marketing plan. In this video, I'm going to take you through the process that we use with mortgage clients to build the 90-day mortgage marketing plan. Hi, my name is Bill Rice. I'm the founder and CEO of Kaleido. We're a lead generation agency that focuses specifically on the mortgage and legal industries. And our expertise lies in taking these industries consumer direct online. A major shift in the market has occurred. These traditionally retail, branch, and office-oriented businesses have had to go consumer direct, had to build out their digital channels because consumers and clients are actually going straight to the internet. They're skipping those sort of face-to-face interactions, and we've built some specific strategies to help you generate those inbound inquiries through your web platforms and online channels. Well, we've only got 90 days to start generating a consistent flow of mortgage leads, so let's get right to it. So I'm going to take you through each of these 30 days in a 90-day cycle. We found through experience, and this is a shift that Kaleido made about 5 years ago actually, instead of being on the treadmill of sort of month to month, trying to sort of come up with strategies and tactics and execute and see outcomes and results and get some sort of impact every single 30-day period or every monthly day period, because that's the way we traditionally get paid based on a retainer. We found that that is very difficult because the marketing process itself simply takes time to accomplish certain elements that make it effective. And in particular, there's a phase where we do some research and some inventory, and I'm going to share you this specific process as it applies to mortgage lenders. But then in the second sort of 30 days, we move through a process of actually implementing those campaigns, taking some initial data, making some initial optimizations. And then in that last 30 days, we're really starting to get some traction. We're starting to focus on sustainability and what we're going to do, achieve, or maybe what the initiatives are going to be for the subsequent 90 days. And that's a really good cycle, really good rhythm in order to collect some substantial and significant data and actually make good decisions and achieve bigger impact and larger outcomes from this process. So let me take you through that 90-day cycle in the context of a mortgage lender. So in that first 30 days, and what I'm describing here is literally the framework that Kaleido uses with our mortgage lending clients. So you'll have the details to potentially implement this within your own marketing planning if you're CMO or marketing director of a mortgage company. Or, of course, you always have the option to reach out to us and we can do all this for you. But in that first 30 days, there's a few things that we're focusing on, whether you're a new client or even we go through this cycle as an existing client or as we move from 90-day cycle to 90-day cycle. The first thing we want to do is an inventory. And within this inventory process, there can be research, there can be inventorying of assets, and there can be some sort of learning and discovery process as well. But inside of this inventory, we're looking at what assets do we have available to us? What does the website look like? Do we have a Facebook page? Do we have an email list of past clients, or potentially have age leads sitting in a CRM, some unresponsive, or even past clients in the CRM that we can market to in order to get referrals? We're looking for all of these sort of assets that we can use within our planning process. Another thing to think about too is, again, just sort of cycling through the potential channels that we could use. So does the website have some traffic that we could potentially convert into leads? Does the Facebook page itself, have we ever run any ads on there? Is there an existing audience that we could potentially turn into leads? We spoke about the email list process. Is there a list of emails, past clients or unresponsive clients that we could potentially reach out to and convert into leads? Is there a video star in your midst that we could turn into a video marketing program similar to what you're witnessing right now? There's, YouTube itself is kind of the number 2 channel as far as search. And so this is sort of the go-to for people for a lot of information, but particularly financial information. They go to YouTube. So if you do have somebody that's comfortable in front of the camera and can describe concepts in an entertaining and succinct way, that may be another asset. So it's not just digital assets, but it also could be human resources and assets that you can leverage in order to turn into campaigns. And of course, that applies to Facebook as well as Instagram and some of those others. Even just people who are interested in these social channels and are really good at personally using them, it could be grown or extended to use them within the context of your business. So we're taking a good inventory, taking a good survey. We're trying to document the assets that we have, and we're going to do that every 90 days to take a look at what's available. We're also going to be diving into our analytics and figuring out within the context of the data that we can collect. This could be Google Analytics largely, but there may be some other places where we're collecting some data. Maybe we're looking to the CRM, some of the sales reports, some of the sales activities, maybe even just interviewing salespeople to get the perception of leads and those sorts of things. All of that goes into the context of pulling in that data and figuring out sort of what's working and what doesn't work, and again, what we can leverage in this planning process for the next 90 days. The other thing that's important within this first kind of 30-day period or window is to look at your lead management process itself. So if you are generating leads, and again, this will sort of vary depending on where you are in this cycle. If you've never run anything like this, you've never done a 90-day plan before, you may just be trying to figure out, do I have a lead management process at all? Do I have a way of taking in leads, distributing them properly, making sure that they get followed up on? As we move into subsequent 90-day cycles, that 90-day marketing plan will probably talk about assessing the lead management process and where is it working, where are leads getting stuck, do we have some technical integration problems, do we have potentially opportunities to more tightly integrate technically these things. Is there an opportunity for us to use some more sales automation to support the sales team and individual loan officers in follow-up and making sure that those leads get properly attended to? And more importantly, with automation, and as we sort of go through these subsequent 90-day cycles and get more and more complex and mature in the way that we manage this, we can increasingly allow the loan officers to focus on conversations and discussion and less on that follow-up process, because most of that can be automated. So we're going to take a look at that lead management process. The next thing that we're going to look at is we're just going to assess, where do we get leads from today? And again, this is going to depend on where you are in sort of this life cycle of digital marketing or consumer direct. But if you are getting leads online, we're going to look at the different channels and we're going to see how those channels are performing. Google Ads, organic to our website, through social media, through our email marketing efforts. If we've got some video marketing, how's that doing? We're going to look at those channels. If we've never done consumer direct, we've never used digital in our marketing strategy, well, we're still going to look at those offline activities and see what's working well, because a lot of times we can take those offline activities and we can leverage those to sort of jumpstart or initiate our digital consumer direct strategies. And then the other thing that's really important, particularly for the mortgage industry itself, is to understand sort of the framework by which consumers sort of seek out mortgages. So in a lot of ways, a consumer is still focused on their local mortgage lender. Now, of course, there's large call centers. There's folks like Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage and Better who are continually sort of optimizing and making that more efficient for the really astute sort of digital customer. But the vast majority of the market still is a little bit anxious about the process, a little bit uncomfortable about what exactly it is to get a mortgage, probably has a lot of questions. And so there's a lot of opportunity for the local loan officer and the local community-oriented branches to move into this consumer direct market. But it's essential to have a good mortgage lead framework based on these structures. So here's a couple of things that we always focus on in particular. And this is how you can beat the big boys in the digital marketing campaign. So of course, you want to make sure that you have a website, you have a destination itself. And then the thing that a lot of times people forget about is really highlighting and featuring the local branches. So having actual local branch pages, oftentimes those local branch pages, if you optimize them correctly, will show up really well essentially as the home page for, mortgage broker, mortgage lender near me, mortgage lender in Chino Hills. So they'll actually reflect that highly local search, or that consumer who's looking for someone. Potentially they're still going to interact online, they're still going to interact through a digital channel, probably where the lead will still come from, but they just like the comfort that that is a local branch. And the branch page itself should reflect that personalization to that locale. The pictures should be local, the addresses should be local, the phone number should be local. It should show that there are local loan officers, and so all of that, potentially there could be some features about the local area. But that local branch page, that sort of landing page, home page for the local branch, should feel very personal to anybody in that community. The second tier of this, and if you're smaller and you just have one branch, you want to focus on this first, but in all cases, make sure that you take on this strategy, and that is having really strong loan officer profile pages, because your loan officers are still out there creating a lot of activity. They're engaging with their community. They're at the high school sporting events. They're at the local soccer sporting events. They're at Boy Scouts. They're at their church. They're generating a lot of activity in that community. And the way that referrals work today is not really handing out the business card per se. I mean, some people still do that, but the business card is probably going to get tucked in your pocket and lost eventually. But really, a referral happens. Hey, you're thinking about buying a house in my neighborhood, you should reach out to Bill Rice. He's like the guy, he's who I've used, he's local, he's lived here for years, so you should reach out to him. So they just had a conversation about my name. They didn't really go into anything deeper than that. They didn't exchange a phone number, they didn't exchange an address, they didn't tell you where my branch office was. Maybe I don't even have a branch office. That's not important, because those discussions now assume that you can just simply Google Bill Rice. So you want to make sure you have strong loan officer profile pages for your loan officers, or for yourself if you're an individual loan officer, so that when they do that local search, when they look for Bill Rice in Flat Rock, they're going to find me, they're going to find my mortgage page. The other strategic thing for larger mortgage lenders that have multiple branches and multiple loan officers, fact of the matter in this industry, we know that there's a high degree of turnover, and loan officers go from lenders to lenders, or even just completely drop out of the industry. We want to do a good job of maintaining those, and by having a strong loan officer profile, that loan officer will rank for your branch, or rank for their name, and it's going to come to your branch. It's going to come to you as the lender. If you don't have those strong profile pages, what is more likely to happen is, let's say you just hired or recruited a loan officer from Quicken Loans or from some other lender or competitor. They are potentially, their name, when people search for them, is actually going to lead to an old profile page, or an old indexing or reference to a previous lender. And so by Bill Rice, by me working in my community and making these contacts and getting referrals, all that traffic's going to the competitor. So if your profile page is the strongest, you will immediately sort of take all that away. And this is a really easy strategy to win at, because most lenders are really lazy, or just not good, or don't even understand the importance of the loan officer profile page. And so they either let them linger or they don't have them at all. So it's really easy to get this free traffic and bring it into you as the lender, and of course, ultimately to the loan officer, so you can make them successful. The other things that you want to have on the site, again, we're framing out and building the platform. This is part of that initial 30 days, is understanding what we have and potentially what we need to plan for in the future. The other thing that consumers just inherently look for is calculators, rates, and just general information and questions about mortgage products in general. And so we want to make sure that we have that kind of content there. There's a lot of ways where you can source rate information, calculators. I strongly encourage you to talk about rates, so that you can locally rank for some rate information. You don't have to divulge your actual product rates, because we know that that's a fairly sophisticated process of understanding specific situations in the context, and you can't really quote a direct rate, but you can talk about rates. You can share some indicative benchmarks in the rate. And you can reach out to us. We can share some more of that information, or even look at some videos. We've got some rate strategies that we talk about that allows you to do that without actually having to display sort of product rates, but still get the search traffic, because even though we can't display individual product or loan rates, for individuals, it's not going to stop them from shopping from them and searching for them. And you want to go ahead and get those searches instead of them going off to a competitor who maybe is equipped to do that. Okay, so just to round out and summarize kind of that 30-day process, again, there's a lot of research, there's surveying, there's inventorying, there's potentially us making sure that our platform is ready for us to do some marketing and getting all of that into a situation where it's going to be effective. And so depending on where you are in this process, if this is your first 90-day cycle and your first 90-day mortgage marketing plan, then potentially you're going to spend longer than 30 days. Maybe you're going to spend 30, 45, 60 days sort of doing all of this surveying, inventorying, and getting your platform ready to actually execute and do campaigns against and actually generate some leads. And then subsequently after that, you're just continuing to sort of iterate and cycle through that same process. So we're going to, again, survey, we're going to look at our data, we're going to make incremental adjustments, maybe we're going to launch some new initiatives. But again, in that 30 to 45 days, we're making sure that we've got a plan, we've documented, and we've got everything in place in order to start to execute the rest of the plan. And this is, again, why you can't really do this every 30 days. You need to have a longer sort of horizon for this. Now, let's move into the next 30 days or that 60-day window. In this next 30 days, and this is particularly true if you've never done consumer direct, and this is your first 90-day mortgage marketing plan and you're focused on digital, once we've kind of figured everything we have to work with, generally, unless there's something unique in there, the first thing that we often start with and starts to execute in that next 30 days or that 60-day window is we're getting our content marketing program in order and start writing and publishing some information. So if we don't have landing pages for loan products, we don't have loan officer pages, maybe that is what we're doing in the content marketing program. Ideally, some of that stuff is in place and we're actually starting to blog and we're trying to create an editorial calendar and the ability to, on a regular basis, blog on very specific topics that are related to getting a mortgage. This is really the easiest way to compete against the larger lenders out there, to compete locally and to start to get your website to gain some relatively free, obviously you're still paying for the content if you're having somebody write this, but this is sort of going to drive the return on your investment up because you're going to get a lot more traffic with this organic content than you can when you're just paying for every single click through Facebook or through Google Ads. But we don't want to discount that. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually start our Google Ads because we want some immediate leads. One of the worst things that you can do as a new marketing director is come in here, have these really big plans and vision, take a lot of time to build things, force your organization to invest a lot of money up front on the hopes that it will work or on the hopes that in the next 6 months you'll start to generate some leads. That's really difficult in this industry to pull off, and it's probably not terribly smart. So you want to get some immediate lead flow, and one of the best ways to do that is Google Ads. Now, of course, you can do lead buys, and there's some other strategies around that, but I always recommend doing Google Ads because you don't have to spend a lot of money. Our average budget starts somewhere around $2,000 worth of ad spend, and you can get a decent amount of leads for that through Google Ads. Now, you can't do that without a little bit of expertise, and again, Clydeco's happy to help you with that. But you do want to geo-target. You want to be tightly targeted around your branches. You want to tightly target around the specific loan areas that you're good at, you're focused on, and are probably easiest for you to convert. And that could mean a couple different things. Maybe you got a particular niche. Maybe you do non-QM. Maybe you're even a hard money lender, or you're really good at FHA, or you're really good at VA, although that's a super competitive market. So I wouldn't necessarily, unless you are the VA lender, I'd probably avoid that. It could be an expensive market. But there can be little niche markets, and then of course you niche that down to your geolocated targeted branches. And again, with not a lot of budget, you can start flowing leads, and those leads will come in within the first week. So as soon as you start to advertise, that's the beauty of paid advertising, you're going to start getting clicks. And assuming that you have good landing pages, you're going to start getting sales leads. So that's what we're going to focus on in the next 30 days, in that 60-day window, is we're actually going to start to implement those first two strategies, and we're going to start to see some of that move. We're going to start to see content move. We're going to start to see traffic come in. We're going to start to see those ads take effect. And as a result, you're going to get clicks and then hopefully leads out of that. So you're going to start to see and build some analytics, and that the analytics is what's going to kind of lead us into the next 30 days or the last 30 days of that 90-day cycle. That 90-day window, we should be at a point where we're starting to see some traction. We should be, refining our workflows and our process so that we can create where there is traction and there is success. We want to create some sustainability and repeatability and consistency within those processes. So we're working on that as we continue to collect data. And in the latter part of that 90-day window, we're starting to get ready to plan for the next 90-day cycle. So we're looking at the data. We're doing that framework again. We're doing our research. We're looking at the data. We're determining what was working and what didn't work. We're going to see, do we need to do any new initiatives? Do we need to make some incremental adjustments? Do we potentially start to layer on to this some other strategies like email marketing or maybe Facebook marketing? And that's what we're doing in that sort of final 90-day window. That last 30 days is we're getting ready to build the next 90-day plan. So hopefully from this, you can see that there's a lot of work to be done in any 90-day period as you're building that mortgage marketing plan. And so giving yourself the time and the expectations to have this 90-day rhythm and workflow makes a ton of sense. Not only because there's work to be done in those cycles, but also within the market itself, the mortgage market itself, it's kind of roughly moving in these quarterly cycles as well, right? So in the springtime, you're going to get, a fair amount of purchasing. There may be some rate cycles that are happening in there. Wintertime, it's a little bit of a lull. In the fall, people are going back to school and trying to race in and get their houses secured before the kids go back to school so they're in the right school district. So there's also some sort of seasonal rhythm that flows and starts to align within this 90-day mortgage marketing plan. So hopefully this has been helpful. Of course, if you just want us to do all this for you, you can reach out to kaleidoco.com and sign up for a discovery session. We're going to actually run through this initial framework in that discovery session. We're going to try to figure out what we have to work with and potentially whether or not we can help you. If nothing else, we're going to give you some good advice and send you on your way so that you can start to execute some of this yourself. If you're planning on doing this yourself, or you're kind of DIY, or maybe you're not quite big enough yet to do this on a grander scale, then encourage you to subscribe and like this video and get more and more of this. We literally are transparent and open-handed. We're sharing with you the strategies that we execute for our clients. So looking forward to seeing you next time.